Jason. How's it going today?
How's it going, Cody? Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing really good, man.
Cheers,
Yeah,
mate.
doing all right. Um, can you tell me your first and last name and the name of the place where you guys are at, and then
Yes.
just kind of go into like what you guys offer there?
Yes. Jason Sorrell, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Knoxville. And we are a certified training center underneath Gracie University. Our head instructors are Hedon and Henner Gracie. And we have several classes. We have classes for kids, beginners, and advanced belts in Jiu-Jitsu. So some of the classes are kids class, little champs, that's the 5 to 7 year olds. Then we have junior grapplers, which is 8 to 13 year olds. When you're 13, you can now go ahead and join the Gracie Combatives class, and that's our adult beginners class. And then we're actually introducing the master cycle at the end of this month for the first time. So we're offering that as well. And that's going to be your path from pretty much from the combatives belt or blue belt all the way through black belt.
So what is the combatives class? What is that? Just the word. I don't know what that means. So what does that imply? What is
Yeah,
that?
the Gracie Combatives class. It's the adult beginners class, and that is a series of classes where it's 36 classes. Excuse me, 36 techniques divided into 23 1 hour classes. And that's just going to teach you to defend yourself if you ever get into an altercation on the street, self-defense, street defense. Um, and it can prepare you to neutralize an attack from an untrained opponent, somebody who could be, bigger or stronger than you. And we have posture prevention, let's see here, neutralize punches, distance management, several things in there to assist you.
What if somebody? So you said um 20. It's divided into 23
1
one
hour.
hour classes. What if somebody misses one? Do they need to like go back and take that one, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So what we do is, let's just say if you come in and you're on class number 4, it's your first time. Um, we kind of hit the highlights of different positions. So anytime we get into a certain position, we define that position very quickly. Um, and so if you miss, let's say if you miss or you just come in the middle of our curriculum, it's no problem at all. Like I said, we'll do certain definitions to kind of bring you up to speed if you miss something.
Mm, got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. And that's kind of like it correlates with the belts as well. Is that correct? Like
Um,
blue to
yeah, so our belt structure is white belt for beginner. Then there's something called a Gracie Combatives belt, and that's a white belt with a blue stripe. And
got
then
it.
there's blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt. So
And then
you
the
earn,
master cycle starts at a certain belt.
yes. So actually, Master Cycle now starts with your third stripe on your white belt, where you can come into the class, learn the advanced techniques, and we now offer positional sparring at 3 stripes. At 4 stripes, you can spar just like everybody else in the group. It's freestyle sparring.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Awesome. Um, Yo, cool. Okay. Haven't gotten into all of that before. So thank you so
Yeah,
much.
it's
Tell
it's
me,
really interesting. Yeah, good.
do you have like a certain like overall like philosophy on teaching jujitsu?
Well, I mean, yes, I'd have my own personal, and I also follow what Gracie University, how they've taught me. I would say one of my core principles is, it's this gym is a student run, student gym, or excuse me, we're running the gym from a student perspective. And basically
Okay.
just what that means is, I've been to a few other gyms and, you know, like the teasing if you don't maybe want to stay and spar because maybe you're getting ready to go to work or you've worked all night. Certain things like that where, it's fun and stuff like that, but people need to be coming into the gym to be getting away from life as opposed to coming in here and having anything extra thrown on their plate. So my philosophy is, people first and, try to have no ego. I'm still a student myself. And so, just trying to have them come into the gym here, learn techniques to defend themselves, have a good time, and head out and continue back on with life. So that's one of my core philosophies.
Got it, got it, got it. Yeah, I understand, yeah. So, go ahead and start as far back as you want. Let us know kinda why you got into jujitsu and how that happened, and tell us a story of, like, your personal story, and then lead up to, owning the academy.
Yeah, so MMA, I'd say early 2000s was still still on the uprise, let's say, and so I was just going through and doing jujitsu, loving it, and but I started noticing a few things. I needed some sweeps from the guard, so I just so happened to purchase the Gracie Combatives when they sold it on the DVD set back in the day, the 1.0. And I just kind of
Mm,
like went through it a little bit, but one day I discovered a sweep that I thought I could use because I was getting smashed. I was in between like the teenagers and guys that were like 40 and above. And
okay.
I was getting smashed there. I did a lot of sparring when I very first started, and somebody would post their leg and guard and drive all the way forward. So I found in the Gracie Combatives, one of their lessons was the elevator sweep. So I watched that lesson and I started hitting people with that and reversing the position. And that was the first time I got introduced to Gracie Jiu Jitsu.
Mm. Let's go back just a little bit and tell me, when you broke your arm, you fractured it was it
I'd
fractured,
say
right? I don't
fracture. I'd
remember.
say fracture. Yeah.
Uh, how come you were, scared to get back into it? There must have been something about jujitsu that interested you enough to you wanted to get back into it, after breaking your arm.
Yeah, good question. I thought it was maybe just a one-off, but I went right back, and that guy started showing up again. The sparring just wasn't really regulated, and there's a few other things that were going on. Like there was, we have a curriculum here at my gym and underneath our university. So as soon as you come in, you're gonna have a card with your name on it, and it's gonna have all the 23 lessons and the ones that you have completed, and you can see your roadmap to getting your combatives belt. Um, and so it's after you take all the classes one time with our beginner program, well, now you have a general understanding of the techniques. After you take the classes twice, well, now and you keep on going. You have you want to go ahead and start testing yourself a little bit with the jujitsu. So we actually have what's called a reflex development class, and that's where we teach you to go ahead and combine all the techniques and start building those reflexes to go ahead and
Oh, that's
test for your
interesting.
yeah, so there's several classes in our curriculum as well, that are on our schedule, but it's like an advanced beginner class. And the first time I actually did it here, it was less of development, it was more of a recall class because there's a lot of techniques, and we show them very quickly, and then the students pair up and start working on those. So it was really cool to kind of see, everybody come together. But like I said, it's these classes are advanced for the beginner because you're going through, let's say, all the techniques from the mount. It's by position or guard, side mount, standing, stuff like that.
You chose that way to teach as far as being very structured, right? It sounds like it.
Yeah. Well, also with Gracie University, we have safety tips, so we cover those. So we show the technique, um, and then also at the end, before we pair everybody up, we get into the safety tips, and then we before we release the
Okay.
students, give them reminders. Okay, guys, turn your hand palm up. That way, you're not going to roll over your wrist when you're doing, like an elevator sweep on somebody or something like that. And so that way, you're getting all these safety tips. So you're coming to jiu-jitsu, you're learning the techniques, you're having a good time, and you're also training in a safe environment.
Got it, got it, got it. My kind of place. Safe
Well,
environment.
yeah,
So,
everybody's gonna get
let's go back
dinged up.
to
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
you were introduced to, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu for the first time.
Yeah. So that was the intro class. I moved to North Knoxville, went to another gym, just started sparring right out of the gate, having a good time. It was a good school. There was some challenges there because I was in the middle of the student body there. There was older guys that were experienced, bigger guys in there. I was getting smashed, and so that's when I had found that elevator sweep, started using that and thought, wow, the Gracies, I mean, this is something completely different, right? And so
Okay.
I was the guy in the gym that was competing. I was also the guy in the gym that was learning 10th Planet, and there's always one of those in a gym. At least back then it was. And so there was a night before I was getting ready to do one of my tournaments, and I was already, cut the weight. I'd already, done everything possible, but I didn't want to start doing jujitsu. So I just wanted to, just maybe get some mental reps in. And once again, I pulled that DVD box set off the mantle and just said, "You're going to pick one lesson. You're not going to stay up all night long, like I probably, I wanted to." So I just said, "Pick one lesson, see if it'll help you out tomorrow." And so that's what happened. I picked positional control from the mount, and then I used that in the tournament the next day to get top position, hold top position, and there was a decent amount of people in his group, and they were sitting maybe 2 feet from the mat, like screaming and yelling and stuff like that. And I'm maintaining the top position in the mount, and he was pushing and stuff like that. It felt like at the end he was punching up to relieve the pressure that I was putting on him. And I went in the match through by an arm bar from him extending his arms. And then the referee, when you do a match, they you stand beside your opponent. In between though is the referee. And when he goes to raise your hand and then turn to each other. When he turned to me, he had snot from his nose to his ear, and so because I was putting so much pressure on him, and when I saw that, it was like a huge giant light bulb just went off and said, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, there's definitely more to this.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a next level or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing this is my story here is about progression. So then after that,
Yeah.
I wanted to train in Gracie, and then I saw that they probably about a year and a half later, maybe 2 years later, they came to the East Coast. They were going to Destin, Florida. So I went down to it used to be called a Gracie immersion camp, and it was a few days, and it would be family members there. So I bought my ticket, went down there, and it was Horion Gracie, Hedon Gracie, Henner and Hollick. And what they did was they had this like this I don't know, this convention center area in like Destin, Florida, in the Sandestin, and they put quadrants up with mats, and they all went around and taught. And my experience, seeing them in person just elevated my journey even more after that.
Was there anything about their personalities that
Uh
interested you?
Yeah, I didn't talk to the only one I had an interaction with was actually Vorion Gracie. I talked to him, but just to see them on the mat, and one of the first things Horion said was, "Guys, you can do these moves so slowly." And he's doing the trap and roll on somebody as he's talking, just like this. And he's saying, "Guys, you can do these moves so slowly, and they still work." And then he had somebody, he was in the mount bottom position. He had a guy get on top in the mount top position and say, "Okay, I want you to resist now." And he's still talking to us, "Guys, all you have to do is, move your head out of the way." And he rolled the guy over. And I was like, wow, like it was so cool to see. And actually, I just trained with him about 2 weeks ago, and he revisited that trap and roll escape. And I was wondering, how did he do that? Because I only saw this as a white belt. Okay. But going back 2 weeks ago and seeing him use some of the different, let's say, techniques inside the trap and roll, I ended up telling him at the end of that seminar, "Hey, this is something I want to know, how you did this for over a decade now." And he thought that was pretty funny that, he answered my question before I got a chance to even ask it to him. So yeah, it was less about talking to them and seeing them do certain things. So when
Yeah.
Hollick came on the mat, he addressed everybody's footwork from the start, and he said, "Guys, you want to plant you get your fight stance and plant the ball, or yeah, the ball of your foot on the mat, but have your heel off the mat so you can easily move backward, move forward, things like that." And I was like, wow, like, I mean, before I was on the mat, like walking like Frankenstein because I didn't, know that little subtle technique that, you might see in a video somewhere, just somebody barely mentioning it. So Hollick fixed my footwork. Horion Gracie taught us, to go ahead and do the move so slowly and stuff like that and relax And so, I learned from all 4 of the Gracies that camp, had a really good time, spent some time with Horion, and I'll tell you this, I met, a guy there, and he showed up because he was, like, the leader of his, like it was like kung fu or karate, group, and it was, like, maybe, like, a group of, like, 10 or 12 guys, and they recognized that they needed some type of ground system. So he was the leader. He showed up there and he told me just uh, as soon as we got there, he said, "Hey, I'm going to test for my Gracie Combatives belt." And I, didn't think anything about it. Well, they had coconut waters in these huge bins, and Henner had said at the end of the very last day, "Hey guys, take as many coconut waters as you want." And I never had coconut water before, so I literally went over there. I was holding a bunch of them, and I was walking back to the other side of this building, and I see my friend Steve getting into a fight with somebody. And he's popping up and going down, and I'm holding this coconut water. I'm coming back, and that feeling that you get, like that sinking feeling in your stomach, like, oh no, my friend's in trouble. And I started putting everything down and running over there. And then I see Henner Gracie's head pop up, and he's throwing
Wow.
punches. And Henner Gracie was administering the Gracie Combatives belt test right then and there. And so I was
Like
like,
a movie.
yeah, I was like, I'm seeing this from like 50 yards away, right?
Mm.
So then I was like, wow, I was like, this is really cool. Like this is like legit. And so I took all that back with me, came back to Tennessee, was so excited to start training Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Why the
We have
heck was he in a fight? What happened?
was the Gracie Combatives belt test.
Oh, okay, it wasn't a real fight, you're saying?
Yeah, so maybe let me explain this. When you test for the Gracie Combatives belt, there are 5 drills, okay? There's the mount techniques that you have to display, the side mount techniques, the guard, standing techniques as well, and then a 5-minute freestyle fight simulation, no gloves, just hands, where you can, throw strikes, and that's what he was doing. He was doing the drill
I see.
5. Yeah, and so I thought he was getting into a real fight, though, but until I saw Henner's head
I
pop up,
got
and
it.
I was like, "Whoa, okay." Because yeah, the Gracies, everybody thinks the Gracies, they're all, it's all, oh, tough and, like defeating everybody. These people are chill. They're one of the first things that, Horion said, even on the last seminar I went to 2 weeks ago is, "Guys, you wanna relax, right? Um, but you also wanna have that street switch in case if you ever need that." Okay. And that could be where, hey, you're out with your family, at the grocery store, or it could be as simple as, you're doing, you're sparring and maybe, somebody rears back. And I'm not saying they're doing this intentionally, but it could just be in sparring, you're training with your partner and they rear back to go ahead and just simulate like a strike to the face, right? You have to protect yourself. Okay. So you have that built in street switch, but the Gracies overall are very chill, very mellow, very nice people.
Is when you say combatives in jujitsu, does that mean not sport?
Correct. That
Um,
mean yes, that's
applying practical jujitsu, self-defense jujitsu.
exactly. Distance management, punch protection, posture prevention, getting out of basic bad guy behaviors like putting you in a headlock.
So
Okay.
real life stuff is not sport. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and it
All
could
right,
be
continue on. Yeah.
verbal jujitsu. So we have a black belt in the gym now who's trained with the family. Okay. And his first instructor was Hoist Gracie after, I don't know, UFC, maybe, I don't know, was it 4 or one of the last ones that he did. And he got his purple belt. So he started as a white belt all the way through purple with Hoist. He ended up moving to Northern California, but now he lives in Tennessee, and he had a recent issue where he lives in a nice neighborhood in North Knoxville on the lake, but there's some homes that are Airbnb. And next thing he knows, there's this girl on his porch and she had taken magic mushrooms. And how do we know? Because the family came down, there were several family members, and they had said, "Hey, sorry about what's going on, but she's taking magic mushrooms. That's why she's acting this way." Because she was trying to essentially get inside of his house. And
Oh, yeah.
he's
At least you
he's
have the
ex
family there telling you what's going on. The family's there to
yes.
calm her down, whatever.
Yeah, so he's ex-law
Mhm.
enforcement, so is his wife, so they handle the issue beautifully, and it's because he was using Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He was using, our combatives, Gracie combatives, boundary setting. "Hey, man, I don't wanna fight you, please don't take another step forward," right? If somebody starts taking a step forward, then we can go ahead, get a hold of them with a clinch, maybe take the fight to the ground. Okay. So as far as Gracie combatives, it's distance management, punch protection, posture prevention, um, able to neutralize bad guy behaviors, like we said, like headlocks against a stronger, more fit, athletic opponent, right? Because Elio Gracie was around 140 pounds. I mean, he fought people almost twice his size, and I believe his longest recorded fight was 3 hours and 34 minutes.
Oh my
Now,
gosh.
if you and I sit here for 3 hours and 45 minutes, at some point in time, before that's all over, somebody's gonna say, "Hey, Jason," or "Hey, Cody, I gotta get up and, go get a drink of water," or something like that, right?
Yeah.
These these dudes were fighting like that way back in the day, using, pretty much essentially no rules or a very limited rule set and
Mm.
no weight limit.
Alright, well, continue where you were. So you're continuing through your progression
Yeah. So,
towards,
I won that.
through, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, right.
Right. I
And
won the
also,
tournament.
if you wanna hit on your upbringing too, whatever, I
I
wanna
will.
so you don't
I will.
forget. Go ahead.
Yeah. 'Kay, so I trained with the Gracies down in Destin, Florida at the Gracie immersion camp. I came back up to Tennessee, but I had a hard time finding, somebody who just wanted to train Gracie. And on Gracie University, you can try to locate other students in your area. And I contacted all the Gracie garages, but maybe they weren't taking, new people or they were busy or something like that. So I just ended up going back to, you know, jujitsu gyms around here. But then I saw the first ever certified training center popped up in Tennessee, in Manchester, Tennessee. And as soon as I saw
Mm,
that, so we have on our website, we have locations and you can see pretty much anywhere in the world if there's a gym. And so I
mm.
contacted the gym in Manchester, and Tim Garrett is the head instructor there, and just really hit it off. It's exactly 3 hours from my house. So I drove down there and started training. And within the first few minutes, he put me on the mat and kind of showed me where I thought I would be completely fine in a street fight, but he showed me common bad guy behaviors, which is pretty much distance management, where I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that I would have been in trouble if had I gotten to a
Yeah.
fight. Yeah. It like I said, it took 2 minutes or less to show me that. And so when that
Wow,
happened,
wow.
I was like, "Yes, this is the lineage I wanna be underneath." So then I joined his gym, and I started traveling back and forth from Knoxville to Manchester, and then I ended up finding, like, a small little apartment there, trained there as well, or lived there and then trained, in Manchester, and, so I did that for several months and get to the point where I had a very good understanding of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and just because of the drive and everything else, and there was an incident that occurred with one of the roommates I lived with, so I ended up just moving back to Knoxville completely, and then, eventually, found somebody who wanted to train Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and then we were going to each other's homes, and then one day I just said, "You know what? I kinda wanna take this to the next level," and went ahead and started working on opening the gym here.
Mm. Had you, taught before, or
Uh,
this would be the first time?
yeah, so the previous gym I was at, the instructor said, "Hey, I'm gonna be out of town." It was kind of like an abrupt thing. He said, "Would you like to teach?" And I was like, "Okay." I mean, somebody had to do it. And at that time, because it was a newer gym as well, I was like the highest ranked student there. So I thought, okay, so I was like, I had a dummy at the house and I was going over the moves and such. And I was terrified. But it turned out it worked out really well. But then after that, I realized I need a system to teach me how to teach. And
Okay.
before I opened Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Knoxville, I looked at Gracie Barra and I looked at something. It was like an American. It was like American Jiu-Jitsu Association or something like that. And I looked at all their curriculums and such. But Gracie University had the punch protection, the posture prevention, getting out of headlocks and stuff like that. Because when I was a child, I got punched in the face several times and never punched back. I just was not comfortable. I was a timid
Yeah.
kid. Uh, we were raised in a very strict Christian home, so you're kind of thinking, okay, turn the other cheek type of thing. And so this has brought out like an empowerment, definitely in my life, uh, and such. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the journey on how I got to where I'm at right now.
Awesome, man. Well, if you had to sum it up, like, what has jujitsu done for your life?
Yeah. So, I would say probably the biggest thing I've noticed is that, I mean, besides like the normal things that everybody kind of talks about is camaraderie. I mean, it's instant friendship. Um, you can get in shape. Is that it's really has kind of like mellowed me out. So it just adds an extra chill to your life. And one of the things is they always kind of talk about that jujitsu makes a doctor a better doctor, a lawyer a better lawyer. Why? Because, you know, I work in corporate America during the day. Sometimes I'm in meetings talking with, you know, administration of like hospitals and such, but you just had that natural confidence when you're in those situations. It just gives you confidence and makes you, pretty much laid back. Because if anything were
Mm.
ever to go down, I'm not saying anything would go down in an office meeting, but out here on the street, I mean, I had an incident probably about within the last month with somebody out in Knoxville, and
And
it just kind of gives you, that confidence, and you have a roadmap, okay, and
yeah.
there are 4 phases of the fight. Would you like to hear these?
Yes.
Okay, so close the distance, execute the takedown, achieve a dominant position, and finish the fight. Okay. Before I took Gracie Jiu Jitsu, I also got to another altercation with somebody. This actually was hands on, where I was staying with my family up in Michigan, which is where we're from originally. And my cousins were college kids and they were throwing this party around Christmas time. I guess everybody was in town. And I wake up, we're getting ready to leave to come back to Tennessee, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I just hear this noise, and it was a 3-story home. So I go down the middle story, and my uncle, he's very upset, and my aunt's trying to talk to him. And I said, what's going on? And they're like, well, the boys are having a party downstairs, and something's going on. So then I said, "Hey, would you like me to handle it?" And my aunt said, "Yes, please go down there." Because my uncle is just the type of person, just, you know, kick everybody out and shut all the lights off and stuff like that. I thought maybe I can go down there and handle this a little bit more diplomatically, right? So I went down there and immediately the room got quiet, which I knew something was going to happen. Something did happen. So I thought, let me just hang out here for a little bit. It'll manifest itself. And after about 20 minutes of, talking with everybody, I saw what happened. It was this guy and this girl. They had recently broken up. They both came back from college to their hometown, and he ended up shoving her, like he pushed her, and like like those cabinets where you can like fit like a TV, could be CRT or something like that. It's like a wide open
Yeah.
spot. He pushed her so hard that she like pushed her up on the cabinet, and he was
Uh-huh.
trying to push her in the bathroom, and everybody in the party was kind of like holding him back. So then I was kind of starting to get in between them, and he went for it again, and I just went and got him in a clinch, which I didn't. This is before I took Gracie Jiu Jitsu, and I was
Mhm.
holding him there, trying to calm down, the situation, and he finally chilled out and stuff like that. Like, stop. He's pretty much trying to take her in the bathroom to either attack her or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And so, the thing is, I remember in that moment that I was like, this is working, but if I take the fight to the ground, I don't know what to do next, right? And that's the roadmap that we're
Yeah.
talking about with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is, so I closed the distance. I stopped being, maybe, I don't know, I was maybe a 3 or 4 stripe white belt, but I stopped to execute the takedown. I mean, I knew how to do a takedown, but I take the fight to the ground. Now that can escalate the fight, right? Escalate the fight, because
Mhm.
people are like Henry talks about, people are like cats. They don't like to be on their backs. They want to get up immediately. So as soon as you take somebody down, they're going to be trying to get back up. They could be trying to punch. If you don't have that tool, or those tools in your tool set, that could be a bad day for you, which I've heard from other people, that have gotten to fights that didn't understand the self-defense aspect of it getting hurt, right?
Mm. Uh, hit on like, why do you think people like it there at the academy? Why do they keep coming back there?
I would say primarily 2 reasons. One is the vibe. We keep a real fun, easy vibe here. Um, the other thing is, I mean, with the safety tips in place, people aren't getting hurt and stuff like that. You're gonna get little nicks and dings everywhere, right? But I would say it's just
Mhm.
a fun vibe overall, and we do really care about the students' progression here, right? And then the
Yeah, it
second
sounds like
thing
it.
is, yeah, the second thing is that I would say, people are there. East Tennessee is wanting Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and it's here now. It's here, and I've had people call me up, say, I've been wanting to find, a gym that actually teaches from Gracie University for several years, and I would say that's probably this one of the other main reasons why people come in.
When anybody ever asks you, like what jujitsu can do for them, what's your answer to that?
Yeah, I get those calls often. I've had calls from, let's say, young kids, teenagers. I actually had a call, somebody in their 50s was getting bullied at work. So I do get these fear-based
Okay.
calls, and they said, "Hey, one lady called. She said, I'm getting ready to be a school resource officer, and my brother, he's a purple belt, and he said, out of all the gyms, you're the one I should go to because of the self-defense perspective." So to answer your question, it's about building that confidence. So if somebody starts immediately throwing a punch on you, we know what to do. We know to go ahead and close the distance, get a hold of them. If we need to, we go ahead and execute the takedown, the 4 phases of the fight. Okay. We have a game plan for all of this. We take
Yeah.
the fight yeah, we execute the takedown, achieve a dominant position if we can. Okay. And then we finish the fight. And that's not, when we say finish the fight may be executed takedown, the person falls down, that didn't feel so good. Hey, I'm good to go. I don't want to fight anymore. Right. Or it could be it's something as, let's say, a little bit more intense where you take the fight to the ground, you get the person into submission, maybe like an Americana, and you simply just negotiate with them before, reaping on
Yeah.
their arm. Yeah. Because, you could get in, I was just talking about this with the kids the other day. Okay. If you get into a fight and you break somebody's arm, did you win the fight? Cody, if you got into a fight and you break somebody's arm, did you win the fight?
Uh, kind of.
Yeah,
I feel really bad.
yeah. That's exactly it. You won the fight, but now the person is maybe their arm is never the same after that, right?
Yeah, that's how
So
I'd
so you
feel.
so you won, you walked away, but now the person could take 6 months. What if they have young kids at the house? They work in a profession where they need that arm. So it's not
Yeah.
necessarily a win. So when we're saying finish the fight, it doesn't necessarily mean where you're tearing off limbs and hanging them on your mantle at home. It could be as simple
Mm.
as, like we said, executing a takedown. The person understands this, we mean business because we have our streak switch. They stand up or they, move on. Or we get them into a compromised position like an arm lock, like an Americana, like a rear naked choke, and we simply just start talking to them. Hey, man, are you going to calm down? Yes, I am, type of thing, right?
Well, thank you, man, so much for telling your story, man. I mean, w- going so in depth with the Gracie system, right? I mean, I don't think we've gone over that too much. So thank you, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll just say, I saw violence at an early age. I'm from Michigan originally. My dad was in business, and his other business partners asked him to come down to get into business in Tennessee, where they had other operations. Okay, so it was in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and and we have car shows down here. We call them rod runs, and the whole town can get packed. And so when that happens, you're going to have customers that are coming in. They're a lot more rowdy, drunk, high on drugs, things like that. And so we used to see some violence, and we would kick off the people who would, come and start trying to, tear up the go-karts. And I remember the
Huh.
first time I saw anything, was I was probably about like 6 or 7 years old, and I just see the whole crowd in this amusement business walking towards the parking lot. And when I look up,
Okay.
it's my dad, and he's got like 10 to 12 guys surrounding him in a circle, and they're all putting their fist up, and there's you can tell there's like one ringleader, and I'm running towards the front of the business. But when I got up there, I realized, what am I going to do? I'm 6 or 7 years old, so I went and just was like looking back behind like the concession stand fence, very close to the
Yeah.
action. But so they were taunting my dad, getting ready to throw down, and then the cops. I mean, sorry to say, well, probably good for my dad, but the cops showed up and just started taking people to jail. And the guy that the ringleader ended up getting banned from Pigeon Forge for 10 years. Um, I guess he caused some other problems as well. But that was my first introduction to possible violence. And we saw other things growing up. Fights with employees, customers versus our family, customer versus customer. um, One time I was working the kitty cars and I hear this crackling, and my parents own a few different businesses on Pigeon Forges Parkway, but I hear this crackling and I look and it's two dudes rolling down the hill hitting each other while I'm working the kitty
Wow.
cars. So they stand up, and then they don't even recognize where they're even at. They stamp, they're still hitting, and then they jump over the fence. And about that time, I'm looking over, and there was like past like the little hill there, I can see it's about 20 or 30 college age kids. It was college spring break. So they're getting to a fight and they just, move on. I go back to work in the kitty cars, but just random things like that would happen. One time my mother got followed going to the bank to drop off the money. And I think that time my dad confronted the guy, and it never happened again. But my dad also had a serious incident where somebody tried to rob him, and they actually took a knife and tried to stab him when the business was closing. And that made the front page of the paper. And I've got the news clipping
Golly.
my house. So the one of the reasons why I got to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is because of certain things like this. Like I need to know, what's going to get me out of a jam if I ever get into an issue with somebody, right?
Yeah, you just so happen to witness those things growing up. If somebody hasn't, they don't know it can happen. But just because it hasn't happened yet, it can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and there's several
interesting.
more stories that I have that, I won't go into, but just hitting the highlights of kind of our upbringing. And so yeah, so you need to be able to do crowd control. You also need to, be able to de-escalate, because normally, if somebody comes into one of these businesses, they're with their family, right? And it doesn't take much, because think about it.
Yeah,
Why would somebody go on vacation and want to fight with somebody else? You're on vacation.
yeah,
Well, it's because your family's together, and we know that can be, a pressure cooker. You're with your family and stuff like that. Sometimes we don't always get along, even though we love each other, and maybe, it could be something that sets them off. I mean, I've seen
yeah.
fathers with beautiful families. Maybe they're bumping the quarter machine, and we tell them to stop, and that's all it takes. Now they want to go out in the parking lot and fight.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Well, thank you, man. What about socials? You got like a new social coming up?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah, social medias. So the gym, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Knoxville, is just GJJ Knoxville on Instagram. It's also the same handle on Facebook. And then I started my own personal account, and it's Jiu-Jitsu as a second language, and it is JSL Convo, short for conversation, on Instagram. And you can find
cool.
I'd say my personal journey on there, and updates for the gym on our regular social medias.
Got it. Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm gonna follow. Well, thank you so much, man, for your time today. You have a
Thank you, Cody.
really cool story. Yeah. Um, and I think the one interesting thing is kind of, anybody out there that hasn't had experiences in their lives like you have, you know, take heed, This is an example of it can happen a lot of times. You just, never know.
Yeah, and
So,
and we don't
yeah,
wanna
man.
be, we don't wanna be so much fear-based, but we want to, go ahead and, we don't wanna be paranoid, okay? And with the Gracie com or excuse me, with the master cycle, we have different types of, let's say, techniques in there and different types of sparring. So we have gi, no gi. We do fight simulation with boxing gloves, simulating an untrained opponent. Then we have jujitsu versus jujitsu, a skilled opponent that you may go up against where we put on 5.5-ounce gloves. We use our jujitsu and we use our strikes to go ahead and set up our jujitsu. And
Oh, okay.
we're not punching each other. Everybody's got. I mean, we're not blasting each other in the face because I used to work in. We used to have an office right downtown, and I didn't want to go into. They started calling me Fight Club because I would have some black eyes and stuff like that. This is before Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Knoxville, but that's what we're trying to prevent. So even if I take my
Yeah.
fingertips and touch your forehead, that's a simulated strike, right? So we put the gloves on and do that. And then for the kids, we do something similar, but we do it with Hulk hands just to keep it fun. The kids, you put the gloves on, and sometimes I'll put the boxing gloves on with them, just to get the reaction and just to calm down the anxiety level, right? The kids don't have that.
Yes,
They start
yes.
looking at it, their eyes get big, they start laughing. The first time I walked out, I had them back behind my hands and showed them. Three of the kids walked up and started punching the boxing gloves. And I said, "Hey, man," I
Yeah.
said, "I'm the bully. You can't bully the bully." And so we have a good time here. But real quick, to finish up with Master Cycle, we also have knife defense. There's wrestling in there. Okay. Hedon and Henner were both wrestlers in high school. Henner got a scholarship to the University of Stanford and placed fifth his senior year in the state of California, but decided
Mm.
to stay in the family business and end up running Gracie University.
Man, I'd love to have you again, in several months and see, like an update on the academy, and we can go even further into like, the systems and everything. It's really interesting to me. I see the differences when you're talking. I
So,
appreciate it,
Cody,
buddy. I hope you have a good day, man.
I can do one better for you. I would like to have you and your son come into our school so you can step on the mat and participate in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu to see, to get your thoughts on it.
I'd
So
love that, man. Next time we're going
if you're,
to Dollywood or anything.
hey, plan a trip. But yeah, you're always welcome here to come and just, check out our gym, film, whatever you would like
Thank
to
you,
do.
Jason.
Okay.
Thank you, man. I really,
Thanks.
really appreciate it.
Okay.
I
Thank
hope you
you.
have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks, man. See you.
All right. Hey, Bill, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm pretty good. Let me know if the birds annoy you. I think they're good, but they're just like really
No,
active right now.
I don't
Oh,
really know. They're good. They're just a pleasant. I hear them every once in a while, but it's okay.
okay,
It's
cool, cool, cool.
nature.
That probably bothered me more than you, but yeah. So nice to meet you, man, and thanks for being on. Can you tell everybody your name and your full name, the name of the place, where you guys are, and just talk about the place, like what you guys do there.
Sure. My name is William Metz. It's 4M Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy and Kickboxing out in Wingate, North Carolina. Kind of small town. We obviously MMA, kickboxing, and our big thing is jiu-jitsu from all ages, from 4 to you name it, 4 years old. Up to
What
you.
is 4M? What is that? Four
So
million.
when we created the first version of 4M, it was supposed to be like H8 was hate. This was supposed to be form, right? As in we have good form for everything. And as time went on, people just saw the logo as 4M and they didn't put it together as form,
Okay,
right?
say it one
So
more time. I halfway understood what you said. Say it one more
yeah,
time. I'm gonna
okay.
write it.
So
4M. Okay, because I know
when
you're
we
saying like
first
the
started
look
our
of it.
gym, we
Yeah,
thought we could be cool and blend two things together.
yeah,
Like the letter H and the number 8. Some people
got it.
put as 8,
Hey, okay,
in short form. So we figured we'd do a short form of form,
yeah,
FORME,
got
but
it.
it never picked up on that. Always picked up on the letter or the letter 4, the number 4 and the letter M. So it's 4M. So that's what we
Got it, got
refer
it.
to. That never panned out. We tried so desperately hard to get
Yeah.
that short, whatever you want to call it, and we're just like, whatever. We
Okay,
just
maybe the
after
podcast will help a tiny bit.
the parent gym has been open for 4 years or for 9 years. So we stopped trying to convince people that was form after 2 or 3.
Got it. After 2 or 3 years. Got it. Yeah, like, once I know what it is, yeah, awesome. I love it. Um, do you guys do, so you do kickboxing as well, right? Is it, like,
Yeah,
for kids as well, the kickboxing?
yes, we do have kids. I mean, I try to. I first opened it up to adults, but I'm in a blue collar area, so people work early, and then they get done early. So once they're done with work, they don't really want to come back out to play or train or whatnot.
I
But the
see.
kids stick around. The adults, they want to go home and rest. The kids do stick around for the kickboxing. So I was supposed to be all adults. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have this cool kickboxing team. We're gonna go to
Yeah.
tournaments, and it's just kids, which is great. I love them. They're great to teach.
D do they love the kickboxing? I always kinda
Yeah,
get into this a little bit because it's not at every, even, like, every place that does, striking, as far as having kids, do kickboxing, right? So I always get into a little bit kinda like, what is it like? Um, how much are they hitting, or can you just go and I think some
well,
some
I mean,
some owners are
for
kinda
the kids,
interested in it as well.
I'm very we don't really spar all that much, and I do have headgear for the nights we do spar. And we hit more pads, more for right lifelike work, but I'm trying to protect the kid's brain. You know,
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
I'm I'm sitting here suffering from whatever I'm suffering from all my years of fighting, so I'm trying to help them out.
Yeah. Do they tend to like that more than jujitsu, or jujitsu more, or kinda the same, or do you get any kinda comments from kids?
From the ones that take it, I mean, I probably have like 6 or 7 kids that take it, and I probably have 40 kids that do jujitsu. It's they're excited when kickboxing comes, and they're happy to do it. It just seems you see their brains working in different ways, right? They wanna
Yeah.
hit things where jujitsu is more of the puzzle end of life, and it's a slower pace, and it's not so crazy. Where in kickboxing, they're just like, no, they're gun ho and they want to get after it. You know what I mean? And how you just see their brains work differently, and they're a little more calm when it comes to learning jujitsu than it is when it comes to kickboxing. They're more gung ho and more they want to strike and hit something, and they realize that that's not jujitsu in its
Mm.
whole.
Does that make it kinda harder to teach, kickboxing? Because it's kinda like it's more you have to calm them down, or mm, it's
No,
kinda
I
harder
mean
to, like
no, it's just part of my life. I've been training for 20 years or something.
Um, alright, man, well, just start, like, as far back as you want, and, let us know, like, how you got into jujitsu, and, just tell us the whole story, kinda lead up to owning the academy.
I came to Charlotte about 20 years ago, and I was out of shape, but I was always athletic. And my
Mm.
girl that I was dating at the time, she's like, "Oh, you should try this gym." And it happened to be a Hoist Gracie studio near UNCC. And I was like, "Cool." Started training. And then just unraveled from there. 6 months later, I told my trainer I wanted to fight, and he kind of sort of laughed at me. And I was like, "Who you laughing at? Why you laughing at me?" So I really put it to work, and I fought for a good number of years. That's part of why my story, if you will, is so long, because you don't make that much money when you're a fighter. So I
Okay.
could only I could only choose to fight and pay my bills, or go to Hoist Gracie seminars, and hopefully that I get my stripes for my belt, because back in the day, and this is 20 years ago, there's no black belts around. I mean, my instructor was a purple belt. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you had to go to a seminar to get stripes or promoted. So
Okay,
I
got
I
it, got it.
I fought for a very long time, and then I was young and dumb, and I was like, I'm gonna own one of these studios. I'm gonna own a Team Rock. Whatever that
And
faded.
and
I
how old were you? Like, ho around how
I was
old?
like 26.
Okay, yeah. So,
I'm
yeah, you
not
made
too
the
young.
decision of, like, "I'm just gonna grind through this, make it happen," kinda thing, and yeah,
Yeah. So
that's
we I fought in a pub till I was 32. I trained a bunch. And then I got married, and then I got paused, and then I became a personal trainer, and that was kind of fun. I mean, I didn't necessarily want the help to become a personal trainer, but my ex-girlfriend's parents were like, "No, we're helping you." you're gonna do this. It's like, okay, cool. And through that, I met one of my one of my contacts, and he was like, "Do a couple of gyms weren't doing so well that we trained at." He's like, "Well, do you want a gym?" I was like, "Is a sky blue?" He's like, "Okay." So, so we started putting our heads together, and we came up with the concept of 4M, which is, like I said, a bigger parent gym, and I owned that for a little bit, and marketing wise, it wasn't doing so well. The new owners came in and they knew how to market, and they thankfully kept me around as a trainer, personal trainer, and a jujitsu instructor, and all that fun stuff. Uh, and then years later, I kept working and grinding, and then finally, I ran into some money, and I told them I wanted to buy back into to the parent company, and they're like, "Well, we have this other gym up here. Would you want to go? Have a shot at that?" I was like,
Uh-huh.
"I'm bored. I need a part-time job. Let me pay for a part-time job." So, I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's pretty much what I did, and I guess it was last February of 25 is when I took it over, and, we went from probably having 30-ish members, I think I'm at probably like 55, 60 members now, and, so we're
Mm,
we're on our way up, but like I said, I love this area. It's a small town, and it has a small town vibe, but it's growing. So we're here for the long haul, hopefully,
mm,
not
mm,
long
mm.
term.
So what
That's
was it
my
like, when you started there? I mean, kinda like growing it kinda thing. Was it tough, or was it kinda easy for any reasons, or
No, it was definitely tough because the academy, we had an instructor who decided to go back to Brazil, and a lot of
Mm,
the parents and kids liked him. And I wasn't a
yeah,
black belt. I wasn't a black belt at a time, and I know that matters, but doesn't matter. Uh, you know, Sometimes, black belts are, "Oh, look at him, you have to be a black belt to teach," but the people that know that brown belts are fully qualified. So I knew that kinda sort of, like, worried some people, and they left, so I had to keep the positive momentum going, like, "This is gonna work." I believe in myself, I believe in the team around me that I brought up here with me, yeah, so it's been working out. By 2 or 3 every month, and from what I understand, that's a pretty good number, so yeah, no, but it was tough, it was
yeah,
challenging, it still is challenging. Every once in a while, you get a good run, you get 5 or 6 that sign up, and then next month, you have 2 that quit, and you're like, and you get all upset about it, but you have to
yeah,
remember that it's just that's just part of the life? Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
positivity is always key, right?
Yeah, yeah. So when you first started, I mean, there must have been something I mean, what was it that you loved so much about jujitsu? I mean, you grinded it out, so
Oh,
mentally
for
you were like,
that
I'm
was
gonna make this thing work. So
For
what was up
me,
with that?
like,
Yeah.
getting on the mat, that was my hour or hour and a half alone. I could shut off my phone, I could shut off the outside, and it changed my life. It helped me get through so much, the ups and the downs and the ins and the outs. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but it really, really did. Focusing on learning something that, because I also played all the other major sports, football, hockey, baseball, soccer, and those are fun, but, like, they were so mundane. There was always an answer to an answer. There's always another way to push yourself. And you
Okay.
had to learn. You had to dedicate yourself to whatever time you were on the mat, uh, to gather as much material as possible, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You always see that boy in left field that never gets hit, and the ball finally comes to him, and he finally catches it, and he finally there's none of those moments here. You gotta grind, and you gotta work for every moment here, and to me, that's a special thing when you go to competition, or, you get yourself a belt. You did that, nobody else did that for you. There's no one else on that team
Mm,
that put you forward, that helped you get there, right? I had my hand raised because it was my night. Tomorrow night, not so much, but tonight, it
um,
was my night. And that's like, I wanna help kids primarily, right? I mean, I wanna give them a drive, a
okay.
direction, somewhere to go, right? And somewhere to hang out, someone else that they can look forward to. The kids I have here, they have wonderful families. Their parents are awesome, but, like, it seems like some of them, 'em I'm an extension of that, and that's a really awesome feeling, to be able to help someone out on that level.
Yeah, yeah. What do they love it about it so much there? You know, what is it, that makes it the place kinda special?
I think here it's the camaraderie and the teamwork and how we just joke and it's serious but not so serious. It's not, I mean,
Okay.
of course, we do our normal bow into our instructors and we our normal warm ups, but just the chit chatting, the back and forth, and the joking is just really cool around here. And then when it's time to work, we go to work, and they know that, and they respect that.
Mm, 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 mm. So it's like that balance is not it doesn't it comes natural to you, it sounds like, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I want to keep things light but meaningful.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what do you do, like, to continuously learn yourself? What are you doing?
Thankfully, being part of the Pedro Hour organization, there's plenty of schools out there, and there's plenty of great black belts that we have in our organization. I follow them,
Mm,
or I go back to my roots and I look at Hoist Gracie, and I look up Henzo Gracie, and I buy those libraries that they have of moves out and instructionals and stuff like that. And then I just
yeah.
take someone. I said, hey, come in a little bit early, and we're gonna go through these set of moves. I do have a great training crew behind me that guys have been training with me for years. That we just
Mhm,
come in on like a Wednesday and Friday night, and we just chain moves together and do moves, and it's not even
mhm.
a class. It's just we get together and roll and just try. So that's how I do it. And like I said, thankful I have my instructor who I got my black belt under is still 10 minutes away from me. So every chance I get, I try to go down there and roll with him and have him beat me up.
You said something about, like, the other sports, that you played. It seems like jujitsu in practicing jujitsu, the act of the practice, it's different from other sports because it seems like there's just, like, this continuous ongoing progression, like, very granular progression that's just constant, right? Because it's just so dynamic, I guess, because anything can be done as far as the movement of someone's body, and even not just the movement of your limbs, but the your positioning and your weight distribution, that kind of thing. So I guess in that regard, it can be different from, like, say football, where of course you're progressing all the time, but it's more like you're practicing something that you just learned for like maybe a whole practice, and it's not this always, when you're rolling, you're continuously progressing nonstop. Is that a part of it that you
Yeah,
love?
and on top of that, this is the only sport. I mean, there's a few others. Wrestling, yes. But this is the only sport that I've played in depth that I actually need a partner to get better. Like this is, I can't I can do an arm bar and a dummy, but he can't give me any feedback of resistance. Right? I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
sit there, I love hockey. Hockey's a big thing about I can sit there on the ice or whatever and just slap the puck and slap the puck and slap the puck. And if I have a coach with me, that's one thing, right? I get that because then he could critique on what I'm doing but it's up to me to listen to do that right. In jujitsu, all I have to do is move just a little bit more and I can either overcome or not, or I can be submitted. And it's just because you move just a little bit.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know that if there wasn't a live person grappling with you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, sparring. Right. Yeah, right. Um, what about if somebody comes to you now and asks you, what jujitsu can do for their lives, what would you tell them?
I say it could change it completely. Just settle in and take it for a ride. I mean the teamwork, like I said earlier, the teamwork, the camaraderie, the difference of people on this. Now that's another thing. A couple years
Uh-huh.
ago, we had a Pedro Sauer conference, and there was everybody in the room from lawyers to concrete workers to dentists to other instructors, and
Mm,
everyone, it was said in there, if you need something, reach out and we got you. So this doesn't even affect you on a personal level. It could affect you on a professional level because you may never know who
yeah.
needs work or needs something from you on a professional level. And then that just blends into a better personal relationship on the mat. It's like that best
Yeah.
friend thing. You punch your best friend in the face, and you're still friends after that. I mean, it's the same thing. You'll grapple hard because you trust that person more. So it is a life changing moment or moments when you get to just I don't know. It's weird when you trust somebody not to hurt you, but you're trying to hurt them. It's a different moment. It's something.
Yeah.
It's almost ethereal. I know that's a bizarre word to use in this case, but just coming together with somebody like that, it's definitely cool. So I tell them it will change them both professionally, personally, mentally. This is another one of those things where if you really look into it in depth, we don't really practice arguments all too much, whether it's, with your spouse or with your
Yeah.
coworkers. But here, it's physical arguments. But if you can settle down and you can work through the problems that this mat gives you, and you could take that into your personal life, you can see through the argument and you could be a little calmer. And that changes the game as well. So, I mean, it just, as I've grown older, it's not just about winning, it's how I can be a better person outside of the gym as well, and it's all
Mm.
thanks to jujitsu, in all honesty.
Have you heard of the term, like, the 3rd place? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
The 3rd place? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that kinda hit on that a little bit where I mean, it can serve many purposes, but that can be one of them as far as, like, working out home stuff or work stuff in the gym, so to speak, in a sense, yeah. It's just
yeah,
another place to kinda, like, get through stuff or let stuff out or, like, think about stuff or whatever. It's just another physical place, so it's not a dumping of all this onto this place and all this onto this place. It's just spreading things out. That's a part of it, yeah. So, yeah, man, cool story. Well, thanks so much for being on. Can you wrap it up by telling, everybody, that's in the community there at your academy kinda, just, like, what would you tell them right now?
just come out and find us. It's something different. The community is all about regular sports around here. I just want anyone to walk into our gym and hang out and just give us a shot, and they'll love it just as much as I do, for sure.
Yeah. Sounds like you have a good balance there of having fun and seriousness. That
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's good for a lot of people. Well, thanks so much, man, for taking your time today. I really appreciate it, and I enjoyed meeting you and talking to you, man.
Hey, I appreciate you doing this to get the word out, and it was my pleasure. And then good luck to your son on his journey.
Oh, thank you, buddy. Thank you so much. I'll
All
talk to
right,
you
man.
soon, all right?
Yep.
All right. Bye, Bill.
Bye.